Hi, I'm Rachel Esterline, and I am the founder of MC Romance Book Club. And here today we have Kelsey Elizabeth Wood, author of Bad Bad Man and MC Romance. And so we are going to talk to her about it. So thank you for joining us today, Kelsey.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So to start us out, tell us what sparked your idea for this book and the plot behind it.
Yeah. So I was like a pretty big Sons of Anarchy fan. But like full disclosure, I found it really challenging to get through the whole series. I don't really fully know why, but like I would always just kind of drop off. And my last rewatch, I felt like I needed more from the men. I felt like I needed it to be like more in the female gaze. And like this is no hate to the series because I just feel like it wasn't maybe like written for me. But I just felt like I wanted more. I wanted like morally gray men who will like literally do everything for their women. And I had been writing for about a year at that point. I was like, I'm just going to try to like write my own version of what I think like an MC club should be. And so I did that. And I like obviously totally fell in love with my own characters. But yeah, I felt like I needed more from that vibe and that life. And so I wrote it.
So tell us about your process of writing it. Like, what was your first scene, if you remember the first scenes that you wrote for it, and how did that entire process of writing that book go?
Yeah, it was like pretty much my like first time writing something front to back. So I kind of just like raw dogged it like the whole time. Like I didn't have a plan, I didn't have an outline. Like it was just I just went in. So my first scene was actually my first chapter. Like I just kind of like thought of this like badass, fierce woman walking into this biker bar, getting mouthy with all of these men who are supposed to be, super scary and violent and, criminals, looking for her little sister. And I just sort of took it from there. And yeah, and I wrote the book.
Awesome. How did you land on the Soldiers of Sin name and really like the entire vibe of that club?
I have like this weird interest in like religious theology and like spirituality. So I really like the idea of like sin and like presenting like good and evil in the books. So the men like soldiers of sin are supposed to, represent kind of like men of the underworld. And you see this more in like the second book, but I do have a lot more like nods to like good versus evil, like South Bay, for example, the community that they live in. It's like on the southernmost point of like this body of water kind of thing. And it's supposed to represent like an underworld. And then like there's another community that's supposed to represent like good. So it's good versus evil. So like I like the idea of like the snake. Like in Christianity, it's supposed to represent like temptation and sin and all of that stuff. So I kind of just wrote a few of those things in there and it took it from there. So yeah.
That's really cool behind the scenes information.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Jack and Triss. So, what really made Triss the perfect match for Jack, in your opinion?
Oh God, yeah. She's just like really fearless, or at least pretends to be. And I think that she has her own ideas of like right and wrong, just like obviously Jack does, being in a motorcycle club. A lot of them do think that they're doing the right thing, and that's where that morally gray kind of concept comes from. But she went through like a lot of trauma. She didn't really have a family. Like her parents died when she was quite young, and her mom had addiction issues. So she was just like full of trauma and looking for a family. And I think that she was, willing to go to bat for her sister and fight for the things that she loved and protect the things that she loved. And I think Jack is the same way. And I think that takes that kind of person to be able to be in a world like that.
Yeah, definitely. So aside from the main couple, who was your favorite character to write in this series?
Officer Decker was my favorite, and I loved him so much I wrote the third book about him. So yeah, that's been which has been amazing. But yeah, he was my favorite like from the beginning for some reason. So yeah,
Who was the hardest to write?
Oh, I've been trying to write Preacher's book for 2 years. So
Okay.
I'm struggling with him. I don't know why, but yeah, he was supposed to be the third book, and I ended up having to like shelve him for a little while. So yeah, he's been tough. I don't know why.
Interesting. So I have, of course, I have a whole list of questions I can ask, but I'd love to turn it to the audience if anyone would like to ask Kelsey some questions. Go ahead, Holly.
You know I have questions.
I know, I knew. I was looking right at
you.
you.
I have so many questions.
Also, Kelsey, look at the number of tabs that woman has.
I was actually like, I feel nervous a little bit because you might know my book better than I.
No.
Read it in a while.
I do. I really loved them. My question's actually about the second book, and I don't want to spoil it if anybody hasn't read the second book. Has everyone read the second book? Yes.
I haven't, but you're okay.
You haven't yet. Okay, so I can ask in a vague way. Did you always know that those two characters were going to get together? Because I feel like you did in this book.
Yeah.
And then after reading the second book, I was like, oh, yeah. I think I actually texted Rachel after I finished book 1. I was like, I know who book 2 is about, right? So I'm not going to tell you. I'm like, no, I'm right.
Yeah, by like the third or fourth chapter, to be honest, in the first book, I'd kind of known that those two were gonna get together. Like I said, when I started writing this book, I didn't really have a plan. I just kind of like screwing around, to be honest. I had no intention of publishing. I had no intention of like making this a thing. I had never even read a motorcycle club romance before. The only reason why I knew they existed is because Katrina had started writing her own, and I was like, what's a motorcycle club romance? Like I was like writing fantasy at that point. So anyways, I started writing one too. And yeah, so I kind of knew they were gonna like get together, but yeah, throughout the book, I sort of like dropped a few hints, which I think you had like messaged me that you had caught on to those. So
it was really well done. Like it wasn't like so obvious because of things.
Yeah.
Because Jesse's around.
Yeah.
I had to think about what I was going to say was a spoiler or not. No, so Jesse's around, and so like I was like, well, is it? Is it not? Yeah, because I really liked the way that you did that. So and then the epilogue of book 1 is vague. Like we don't have like who she ends up with, but it's clear that she ends up with somebody.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Who else has questions? Holly, you look like you've got another one burning.
I have like 15 of them.
You can go like rapid fire. Let's go.
Also, I'm like, I have so many thoughts and so many questions. I did not realize. I mean, obviously, like soldiers of sin, and you've got all of the different symbology in there. You've got like the Eden Hills in book 2. Yeah. I really liked, and I'm assuming this was intentional. I liked that you kind of flipped that like Eden and the people that run Eden are maybe not so great. And then the soldiers of sin, because I think the MMC in book 2 really like there's a lot of conversations about being good and being bad.
Yes.
And I feel like you did a really great job of like flipping both of those on their heads. I'm assuming that was intentional.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, like just to bring it back to that symbology, like Eden Hills is supposed to kind of represent like the Garden of Eden, right? And that's why I named like the strip club the Garden, because I just thought that was kind of fun. And I'm sorry if anyone's religious here. Like I'm not like, it's not my intent to trash that, but spirituality is great, but I think that like in some aspects, like organized religion can be very corrupt. So the idea is that Eden Hills is supposed to be this like community that's like high income, a lot of like it's like cottage country, a lot of seasonal like rich people who like come in on helicopters, which is like a community a couple hours south of me. That's exactly how it is. So I wanted to also show that it is a very corrupt town when you get sort of in the weeds of it. So yeah, I love that. I love that you caught that. That's great.
I loved it. I was like, "Ooh, this is so interesting." And then when you brought up the spirituality part, I was like,
"Yeah,
yeah." It all clicks. It all clicks.
Go ahead, Holly. Is that the tip of your tongue?
It is. This is kind of a question for both of you, though. So I feel like Graves and Reaper, which is the MMC and Rachel's book, Reaper and the Lioness, would be best buds.
Yeah.
And for both of you, could you describe what you think their bro date would look like? Like, what would they do?
Oh my God. I feel like Rachel should answer this question.
So honestly, I think that they might enjoy some light torture. Like there's probably somebody who deserves it. Like I always tell people, like the people who I torture in my books, they earned it. They
did, yeah.
And so I feel like they would be like, hey, you wanna just go take care of this problem, like this guy, like, and we're just gonna go take care of this. And then maybe afterward, I think just drinking some whiskey.
Beer is, I would say beer is, I don't know, like beer after murder sounds more refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in Texas because it's hot. Like I think it depends on where, like, is Reaper in Canada right now or is Graves in Texas? Because the cold beer on a hot day versus like, are they sitting around a fire at, the little cabin?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do think that, and then also they're probably going to have to swoop in and get Triss and Eva. They're going to get drunk together. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be a problem. Ken is going to be drunk, Red is egging them on. Yeah. So
they're causing trouble. All of them are at like a rival biker gang's bar and they have to call them out.
Yeah.
Well, Rachel and I have joked back and forth about doing like a collab. So just know that could happen.
It's going to be titled Beer After Murder because you said that and I was like, that is a book title right there.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it's a bonus chapter in both of our books. Like we'll just put it in as a bonus chapter because I do want to write a bonus. And what's funny is right before this call, my husband's like, "Who are you talking to?" I was like, "Oh, another MC romance author." He's like, "Are you going to be talking about banging against bikes?" I was like, "Yeah, probably." Like if I'm being honest, like I'm like that is something actually that Kelsey and I have messaged about.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have questions or do you want me to jump back in? So while you all think about it, Kelsey, how do you really balance like those dark, gritty elements with the emotional heart of Jack and Triss?
Yeah, that's super challenging because it is romance, right? So I mean that is the plot. And it's definitely hard to try to find that balance because really like in an MC book, it's about the club, it's about, the town, it's about the relationships. So you kind of have to build on all of that. And this isn't going to be a great answer, but I kind of just go on vibes. Mm-hmm. Like I just sort of like go through it and I try to focus on the couple and whatever's happening in the background of the club is like interweaving its way into their relationship. But like I said, I'm not really great at plotting. So there have been moments where I've kind of been like, oh man, like this has been like 5 chapters of just like club drama. I need to like rewrite this to make it more about the romance because sometimes I do forget about that aspect of it. But yeah, I just go on vibes, to be honest.
I like it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the spice. How was it to write those scenes? Like, what was the most fun about writing them for these characters? Or maybe what was most difficult?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think writing spicy scenes is just fun to begin with. I don't find them challenging to write. I find them super fun. And, like I'll like darken my lights in my office and like get my like fairy lights on and, like make myself like a coffee or a tea and I'll just sort of like get in my zone and do it. I do love writing spicy scenes a lot. They are obviously fun. And in my 3rd book, I have quite a few of them. But I do find it, I mean, I haven't really explored, like, are we allowed to like talk about whatever in here?
We can talk about whatever. Okay. There are no rules.
Okay. I mean, like I try, yeah, this is weird to talk about. I don't think I've ever talked about this out loud, really.
Edit this part out of the video if you want. Like we could do a cut and just like a big chili pepper.
I do try to like have a different sort of like kink in every book. I felt like my first book was a little bit tamer than my second, and my third is like I tried really hard to get like some spiciness and some like newer kinks in there, because like there's only so many times that two people can just like go at it, right? But you know, there is like a certain level of research for that stuff. You know, if I'm not doing it myself with my husband, I have to do some research to figure out how that works and everything. So yeah, I think that's probably the challenging part, is trying to find how to, you know, convey that in a book, but also like from a female point of view. Like, you know, if you're watching, you know, pornography, like a lot of that stuff is made for men. So it's not really what women are looking for. You know, it's like produced by men for men, everything from the lighting to the woman, like that's all for men. So it's really hard to like actually find content where you can try to research how to do some of these things. And obviously like my books aren't crazy kinky, but I do, you know, write some other stuff on the side that is, and I've had to sort of research some things on how to write it. And it is challenging, especially from like, you know, a female point of view. So
Yeah, definitely. So what's the most questionable thing, and it could be about the shadier aspects of MC life too, that you have had to search for, you know, what's the red flags in your Google history?
Yeah. Chloroforming somebody, like I had to research that. It actually takes a really long time, which I did not know. Like in movies, they make it seem like it's super fast, but it's actually not. It can take like several minutes. And then, yeah, just like how long it takes someone to die after shooting them or stabbing them, and or like where can you stab someone without killing them, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm sure my Google history is kind of weird. It's honestly the sex stuff though that's weirder to me anyways.
Yeah, that's so funny. So let's talk tropes. What trope was your favorite to lean into?
Oh, I'm a sucker for like a good touch her and die moment. I love that. Or like a who did this to you? Like just I love it. That's just such a vibe, you know, especially because like, you know, there's moments where like this like hardened rough man just like gets so soft for her, and then like just is like filled with rage and wants to like murder whoever touched her. I just like find that so romantic.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a point, you know, since you're a writer who just jumps into it, right, where you were like, oh, I did not see that happening? Like, did you have moments where you were surprised by your own evolution of the story?
Yeah. I mean, most of book 2 was like that, to be honest. And I know we're talking about book 1, but yeah, book 2 was like, I had a little bit more, like a few more plot elements than I did in book 1, and book 1 and 2 like mesh quite a bit. So there were, you know, not planning is sometimes a problem because I had to reread and like figure out plot points at that point. But yeah, a lot of my writing is like that because again, I'm really bad at plotting. I'm like a pantser, they like to call it. So
Yeah.
Not always smart, but
that's a challenge. I actually have a paper planner that like I write stuff down in on the actual date that it had, because sometimes I'm like, wait, who is where?
Yeah.
What's, you know, it's so hard. Like I don't think people realize how hard it is to not create plot holes when you're the writer. And it's like, no, I create all of my own problems. So
yeah, no, I feel that 100%.
yeah. Does anyone else have questions? Come on, Holly.
Do you have more, Holly? You can ask more. Okay, go. Fire away.
All right, I want to talk about the playlists because they took over my life.
Did they?
Oh my gosh,
I'm so
yes.
happy.
And then I found out Rachel has playlists, and then it's been like a whole my car rides have been a whole vibe now because of these playlists.
Oh, I love that.
Did you curate these playlists after, specifically for the reader and the book and what happens? Or is this a collection of songs, either book, that you listened to while you were writing?
So I don't listen to them while I'm writing. While I'm writing, I listen to like lo-fi, just like very low in the background. Because when I hear lyrics, I start to sing them and then I get distracted. So when I'm stuck or when I'm trying to like get the vibe of the scene, I just sort of like go on like Google Play or like wherever, like Spotify, and I just like look for songs that I think would be the vibe, and then I like shuffle like a radio to that and then just like lay down and listen until I've got the vibe. And then when I do, I just put them on the playlist of where I think they belong. So I'm so happy you like them. I didn't know anyone like listened to those.
Oh, they make me feel like I can go get in a bar fight, which I have no business being in a bar fight, but maybe I do. Who knows? But speaking of bar fights,
yes.
When Triss beats the ever-loving daylights out of Hazel.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all had those moments where we're just like, you know what? This bitch needs to be punched in her teeth.
I know. And
Sorry,
you totally can. She was not great. I did struggle to write that scene because I am like a girl's girl. Yeah. So, I don't love girl on girl violence, but sometimes, as you said, a bitch does need to be punched in her teeth.
Yep, we will support each other until you start acting like a Hazel.
Yeah.
I don't know any Hazels. I'm sure all Hazels are very, very nice, but this Hazel, this fictional Hazel.
No, she wasn't great.
she needed that. She needed that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. She did need that. But yeah, Triss is a badass. She's a secret badass in that sense where she can defend herself in fights. So
yeah, and I like the way that you wrote it where Triss didn't realize that everybody else kind of had come out to figure out what was going on because Tex was like, I think you need to go, lady. And then everybody came out, and so they were able to like bear witness to this. I think it was a really great moment between Triss and Kat. Like, well, it maybe like was difficult to write because it was girls.
Yeah.
It was also a really great moment, I think, for Triss and Kat to kind of start the steps towards repairing their relationship.
Yeah, and she could also see that like her sister, is kind of a badass and will like slap a bitch around if she needs to.
Yeah, and it ingratiated her with, what do they call themselves? The Sisters of Sin, the other ladies of the club. So I thought that was a really great moment because it did a lot of things, right? That one scene did a lot for the plot, right? Like it was it led to a very nice moment between her and Graves. It led to a great moment with her. Ingratiated her with the other women of the club. Like, did you intend for it to have so many ripple effects?
Oh, I feel like you've really dived into this here.
Sorry.
I mean, I love it. This is great. I'm a Leo, so like I should want to just like talk about myself and my work, but this is like super weird to me, to be honest, that like you guys care enough. So I really appreciate that, like for real. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the scene I'd intended to just like finally show that Triss could hold her own, right? Because throughout the like first half of the book, Jack is like, oh, like Triss isn't built for this life. And he says it over and over again that like he's gonna ruin her and that, she doesn't deserve to be in that violence and that she wouldn't be able to handle it. And I think that's like kind of a pinnacle moment where he realizes that she is pretty tough and that she can kind of hold her own. So there was that aspect, and then also Kat finally seeing that her sister in the same light. You know what I mean? Because like Kat is awful in book 1, and also in book 2, a lot of people don't like her. But I love her, and to see her sister in that light, I think was really important for her character. So yeah,
I love Kat.
I do too.
I'm one of the minorities that does not like that. I love Kat, and I think it's because she's had so much trauma and she's such a young kid. And I remember being 18 and thinking I knew everything. Hell, I remember being 28 and thinking I knew everything.
Yeah,
and like you learn a lot as you grow up, and then you look back and you're like, maybe would have handled that differently.
That was questionable. Yeah. No, I feel that. Yeah, that's a really great point. But yeah, I love her. She's great.
Yeah.
She doesn't like really have the full character arc that everyone wants her to have, I don't think, but that is because she's like, 19 and 20, and like those kids don't know much at that age. At least I didn't.
Oh, I didn't either.
Yeah.
And she's going through it. She's going through some big serious things throughout both books.
Yeah.
She's not my favorite.
I know.
But I also know that she's going through it, and she is young, so I haven't gotten to book 2 yet. But I'm very, very curious to see how she is in book 2 and see how that plays out.
She's like slightly redeeming.
Okay.
She's challenging. Let's just say that.
Well, and I think there's the difference between like through Triss's eyes, and Triss has, had to, she's the typical eldest daughter. So like Triss is seeing Kat through her eyes, but then when you're hearing Kat's perspective, it is a lot different, because I think you get to know her more intimately, and then you're like, okay, like, sure, should you have handled these things this way? Probably not, but like I get why you did, and I think writing characters in their 20s is really hard, and when you're in your 30s too.
Yeah, it is.
And so like I think I can't remember how old Triss would have been but she was probably in her 30s, right?
She was 26, but she's she's an eldest daughter, so she took on a lot of responsibility very young.
Yeah. So like you can really see that. I don't think it's a spoiler to ask you a little bit about book 3. So sure. Gracie and Decker, did you always know they would end up together?
So I did, but I kind of expected it to be like a novella, like later on. I loved Decker, like I said from the beginning. He was one of my favorite characters to write. But I didn't really think that there'd be room for him in the series. Mm-hmm. And I was just sort of like screwing around one day and decided to like write a little bit, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. So yes, I've always known they were going to end up together, but I didn't think I'd really write it. And if I did, it was going to be a novella. And now it's a whole novel.
A whole story with diagrams that you send me when I have questions.
Yes.
I really appreciated that, because I was texting Rachel. You'll see a theme here. I text Rachel every time I pick up one of your books, and I was wait a second, I have questions. She's like, I have questions. Will you reach out to Kelsey? So very helpful, very funny too. I loved
it. Yeah. Awesome. So I'm gonna do some like rapid fire, and let's see what your answer is. Okay, so slow burn or insta love?
Slow burn.
The president or the sergeant of arms?
The president.
Let's see here. Forbidden love or best friend's brother?
Oh, forbidden love. I love me a forbidden.
Whiskey or tequila?
For myself, or like
for yourself?
Tequila for sure.
Okay, that's good to know. No peanut butter whiskey for you?
Oh, did I tell you that my liquor store actually does carry that? I'm gonna go look for it tomorrow. I don't know if I'll buy it, but I'll send you a picture if I find it.
Maybe you can get a mini one, like that. You can get the little tiny one and then mix it in with some chocolate flavored coffee, iced coffee. I'm telling you, it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe like in the morning when you need to write something really good.
In the morning, drinking in the morning. I love it.
Secret baby or second chance?
Second chance.
Okay. And bad boy with a heart of gold or the true villain?
Ooh. I feel like this actually depends on where I am in my menstrual cycle, because if I'm ovulating, true villain for sure. But like every time else, I'm probably just bad boy with a heart of gold. I don't think I could handle a true villain in real life.
Okay. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Like you really do have to write based off of where you're at in your cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of my steamiest scenes I probably have written while I was ovulating. So
yeah. But then if you need to cut somebody up, like just get me during luteal, and the best torture scenes I think have been done.
100%.
Awesome. Any final questions from anyone? No final questions?
Holly, you got any more?
Yeah, Holly,
Okay.
you want to close us out?
Sure. So I know you said you're writing Preacher's book. Like, I am like geeked for his book. Is Tex getting a book?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
writing book 4 and 5 in tandem.
Okay.
Because I'd like to try to release them close together.
Should we read them in tandem? Is it a tandem read situation?
No, Preacher is before Tex. Okay. But yeah, the plots are very like twisted together. So it's kind of like how book 1 and 2 was sort of twisted together. 3 and 4 are going to be twisted together, or 4 and 5, I guess. So yeah, they both get a book. I'm writing them both right now. And I'm hoping that I can get them out next fall, but we'll see.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kelsey. I'm going to pause the recording, and then if anybody has off the record questions, they can always ask them there.